You know, there are many, many people in the observant Jewish community who have their up in arms about the internet. And for good reasons. The internet can be an open sewage line into your home. There's a lot of bad stuff out there. And we really have to be careful with, especially children or people who can be easily influenced. There's some very, very negative things on the internet. But the internet is not per se a bad thing. The internet per se is a powerful thing. It could be powerfully good or powerfully not. Just this morning, I got a call last night from somebody. He says, there are two people who very much want to see you. They consider you their Rebbe and their teacher, and it's very important for them. They're very, very righteous, special people. They're here from Israel, just here for a day. Could they come and see you tomorrow? I said, of course, no problem. And then the guy who sends me the message takes a picture. It's a black rapper who performed at a concert last night. His name is Nissim Black, and he sends me this picture of him. So I figured out that Nissim Black. So I said, okay. I said, why don't you come to davening in the morning? Come to my class, davening in the morning. So the guy goes, yeah, I watch your class every morning. He's the guy I would never think watches my class. Anyway, they showed up today, him and his brother-in-law. These guys grew up in an inner city black ghetto in Seattle. And him and his brother-in-law, they're married to two sisters. They were living in a life of all that is bad and rotten. Both his father and mother, Nissim's father and mother, were drug dealers. Yeah, a crack addict. Amazing. You were at the concert. Okay, amazing, right? A crack addict. Mother, I think, died of overdose. He grew up with violence. He was taking drugs in 7th grade. He was dealing drugs by 9th grade. He had guns. And then it came, and he had a grandfather. One of his grandfathers became a Sunni Muslim in prison. I said, like a Farrakhan? He said, nah, that's like a Mormon, what Mormon is to Christianity. That's like a twisted Muslim. Sunni Muslim, the real deal. He became in prison. And he's a little boy. He had him praying 5 times a day. And then what happened is he went into the music scene. He started having some success. So he left the whole God business behind. He wasn't interested. Oh, sorry. Then he ended up in a Christian camp. And that was his haven, because his house was a hellhole. Terrible, like violence, sex, drugs, whatever you want. And he was this Christian stuff. And then he made money and became a little bit well-known, had some notoriety, so he left all religion behind. Okay? You have a black child growing up in an inner city. Parents are drug dealers, drug addicts, violence, guns, you name it. A guy who has zero chance for success in life, and what we would call success, certainly. And then at a certain point, something happened, and he thought the police were looking for him, and then he thought somebody was out to kill him, and he was out to kill somebody, and he started praying. He started praying, and he's looking for God. And he says somehow he stumbles on CHABAD.org. He says, started watching your classes. He says, it was my bucket list in Toronto, I had to come see you. And his brother-in-law had the same journey. First they end up as Messianic Jews, and then they realized that wasn't right, and they were attending the Chabad house in Seattle of a dear friend of mine named Rabbi Farkash. And he said to them, don't bring in this Messianic stuff. You want to come to the classes, you come to the classes, but don't bring any of that stuff in. Well, P.S., these guys are righteous converts living in Jerusalem. Both of their wives came along on the journey. They're busy traveling now, doing concerts around the world. The two sisters have each other. They bought a house in Shara Chesed, in a beautiful neighborhood in Jerusalem. And Mamash Chasidim. He says, where's the mikveh? I got to go to the mikveh this morning. We don't go to the mikveh yet this morning. And you ask yourself, this is unbelievable. Now, without the internet, would that ever happen? Without Chabad.org, would that ever happen? I don't even know how I ended up at Chabad.org. That was a whole story of a story of a story, like a Hashgacha Pratis. So Hashem arranges things. And it could be one needle in a haystack, one little neshama somewhere. And Hashem says, those neshamas are coming home. These two people are born with special souls. Who would ever think you may see these kids on drugs, 2 black kids on drugs in the inner city? Would you ever say that they'll be Hasidim with beards who go to the mikveh and daven 3 times a day? That live in Yerushalayim, that inspire thousands of Jewish children? If you were a betting person, you would not put your bets there. But that's what happened. So we have to understand that we live in an enormous, enormous reality, a huge universal reality that's filled with octillions of details that are all interlocking. And Hashem has his ways. And if we're lucky enough, we get to become a part of it. The Gemara says if you lose a few cents and a poor person picks it up, and you don't even know you lost the money, you have the mitzvah of tzedakah. Because the mitzvah of tzedakah is never about the giver, it's always about the recipient. Like, I feel so lucky. If I could discover a treasure today. I had no idea that I was fortunate to have a part of this. Well, I'm giving the classes anyway, so I'll have a camera. I don't really do anything for Chabad per se. Teaching classes here in Chabad Flamingo. Okay, the camera's here. And you never know. Had the Shlomo Hamel say, Shlach lachemcha. You cast your bread. You never know where it's going to end up. But if we live with this kind of consciousness, that you never know who notices, who sees, who thinks, with a smile you could change somebody's life. Chas v'shalom, with a bad word, you could destroy something. You don't even know. You can't drive yourself crazy, but you have to live mindfully. You have to know that Hashem sends us on many, many missions during the course of our lifetime. And many of them may not be missions that we're consciously aware of. You'll never know how a ripple effect, a tiny thing can cause a ripple effect that brings about really and literally a world of change.